Please join.
Yes, we are live.
Okay. Hello everyone, this is Balu here. Shall we start? Okay. Welcome all. Welcome all to the webinar. So I am Balu. I'm from Quadrant. With the collaboration with the Microsoft and AMD, there is a webinar on migrate to Azure PostgreSQL. So this is going to be an interesting session for next 1 hour, and where we are going to cover the many topics involving migrate to Azure PostgreSQL. So where we are going to cover, right, majorly these are the things. It is going to be around 45 to 50 minutes where we wanted to cover all these topics, right? Whatever you are seeing in the screen. And the last 15 to or 10 to 15 minutes, it will be a question and answer session. But parallelly, if you have any questions, right, to ask the speakers, you can use the window. There is a comments window is there, right side. You can see that. You can uh, post your queries there. So our guys will answer that. Right. So this is the agenda. So why Azure PostgreSQL? So why it is required actually, right? And the tools available is there. The popular tools available in the market. So that we are going to cover the migration tools. The next one is assessment and migration plan, migration process, and again modernize with Azure PostgreSQL. And we are going to cover the some of the case studies also. So what how we have done and the real time actually the various customers. So these we are going to cover as part of the case studies. Next slide, please. Yeah. So you can see speakers for the day. So I'll introduce myself the first. Right. I am Balu Kuncham. I work as a senior vice president. I take care of strategic partnerships, sales, and partner ecosystem for Quadrant. Having around 28 years of experience in industry, right? Majorly worked in product and services based industries. All right. So this is my brief introduction. I will hand it over to Samir. Samir, you wanted to introduce?
Yeah, hi everyone. This is Samir. I'm part of AMD's cloud team, and I manage and lead cloud business in India and alliances. I'm responsible for mainly AMD SQ's consumption in Azure in India.
Thank you, Samir. Uh, yeah, Sriram, you wanted to introduce?
Hi, this is Sriram Shivakumar. I'm the Cloud Migration Program Manager at Quadrant. I specialize in helping organizations move their infrastructure and workloads to the cloud efficiently and securely. and I have led a lot of complex migration programs. And I'm here to share key lessons and practices insights to help make your cloud journey smoother. Thank you.
Jitu, you wanted to introduce? Jitu, you are on the mute, I think, maybe.
Sorry. Hi everyone. Myself Jitendra Senda. I am a senior cloud architect and migration specialist at Quadrant Technology. I am having 20 years of experience on application development and end-to-end migration from on-prem to cloud or cloud to cloud migration. Thanks everyone. Here we will discuss about what are the challenges people are facing. I will share my experience on that and how to migrate to cloud. Thanks.
Thank you, Jitu. So yeah, you heard about the speakers, right? All the eminent speakers are there who are really industry specialized in this area, right? Majorly in the cloud and PostgreSQL and Linux, right? Samir comes with a lot of experience from AMD. He's going to talk on so how it is going to help from AMD. Right. I'll just touch upon the quadrant. Right. So we are hosting this, and thank you for joining us. Right. So about quadrant quickly, we are 15 plus years of so they are in the industry. The company is based out of Redmond, Seattle, USA. We work with Fortune 100 companies, and I can say Fortune 500 companies across the globe. We are we are presence in 10 plus countries, decently spread across the globe. And because of this presence actually, right, so we support our customers 24/7 across, right, and we have 3000 plus strong professionals. So we are a data and AI company. All these 3000 plus professionals is all are niche skills actually. So everybody comes with these skills, data and AI, and in that actually around 1500 plus are certified professionals. So we have the certificates to work in the respective countries as per the country norms and all those things. So you can see in the left hand side, so we have all the required certifications. And in the Microsoft ecosystem, right, we have a terms actually, right, advanced specialized partner, which is the highest level of partnership. So we are one of the advanced specialized partner for Microsoft in the specialized areas. Okay, Microsoft having couple of specialized areas, so we are having specialized areas in at least 3 or 4. One is majorly the topic of the today's is infrastructure, right? Azure infrastructure. We are a specialized partner, and data and AI, and also digital and app innovation. So we are the partner in this advanced specialized. Very actually, I can say, right, only a couple of guys are there in this space. So we are one among them across the globe. And we are ECF enabled across the globe. Again, ECF enabled is end customer investment fund. So where Microsoft funds actually, right? For example, want to really venture out with Azure, venture out with Microsoft, right? Microsoft will invest some money actually, right? Initial thing. Okay. Hey, so there is a company, they want to really test Microsoft products or something. So where Microsoft will pitch in and they will invest. That is the ECF. So Quadrant is ECF approved partner. So where they will pay to the customer, right? So where we will get it. So that is only some of the partners like us, the ECF enabled us. So we are ECF enabled. And again, right, Azure Innovate. Again, in the specialized area like data analytics and AI, there are a couple of partners for Microsoft where Azure Innovate is there. So we are one among them. Okay, so this is a Microsoft ecosystem again. So as I said, so we are decently right located right right in the 10 countries actually, majorly in US, and again back in India, so heavily presence in India. And again we are based out of UK, Ireland, Dubai, and Singapore, Malaysia, Australia, Mexico, Brazil, Costa Rica. So these are the countries we have presence across the globe. Next slide, please. So the focus areas, right? The current focus area for Quadrant for this year and the next year is, the talk of the town is AI, where we are going to talk about, we are going to touch on that space also, right? So heavily our focus is on the migrations, cloud migrations, right? We have the product called a Q Migrator, which we are going to cover as part of that, and digital and app innovation, and infra migrations. Security is heavily, actually, right? Security, risk and compliance, cyber security is one of the focus areas for us. And again, data analytics, which Fabric is one of the SaaS based platform for Microsoft. So we are heavily, actually, right, so using that also. So we are going to touch on that. So these are our focus areas for this year and the coming next year also. Yeah, why we need this PostgreSQL, right? So next slide, please. Yeah. So why we need this one, right? So we need Postgre. Why we need PostgreSQL is, again, right? So this is an open source database. So we have license based databases, right, where heavy cost is involved. So right, lot of databases like DB2, Oracle, right? So other databases where we are investing are heavily on the license fees. But whereas we are going to cover, right? So PostgreSQL is going to be a kind of a free of cost almost, right? Is a open source databases. So which, right, it is going to be kind of is a kind of a very flexible, reliable, scalable, right, equivalent to all the existing license based uh, databases. All right, so this is what we are going to cover again in this session. Yeah. So Samir, you wanted to take over from here?
Very good afternoon. Um, as
Samir, you are on
all of
mute, I think.
you, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Um, Balu, can you confirm if you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samir and I'm from AMD. And today, I'm very happy to talk about how we can accelerate your database modernization journeys, specifically for PostgreSQL on Azure using AMD-powered virtual machines. So, why organizations are moving open source database to Azure? Uh, number one is to eliminate legacy infrastructure costs for better scalability, high availability, and automation, and most importantly, to improve performance while reducing the total cost of ownership. Open source databases like PostgreSQL have become core to modern data architectures, especially in digital native, fintech, and enterprise applications. So now let's look at how you can get cost-effective performance, enterprise-grade security, and a smooth migration path for your open source databases. Um, Someone please move the slides to. Okay. Um, Again, I think this is not my slide. You have to bring on the AMD slides. Yes. So, all right. So this is fine. So, and I want to give you a brief introduction of AMD and Azure before I dive into the details of scalability, flexibility, and cost effectiveness uh, when you choose AMD and Azure. So, we launched AMD Epic, our data center processor, on Azure back in 2019. And since then, we have launched four generations of Epic and a diverse array of products and services from uh, VMs to infrastructure as a service to software and platform as a service options. You are likely already using AMD based infrastructure with Microsoft Azure. You may not know it. With that background, let's talk about Azure infrastructure specifically. So, if you look for the A in VM name to know whether AMD EPYC processors are there, there are some exceptions like LSV2 where A is not mentioned, but that's also AMD VM. With that, let's move on to the next slide. Um, Azure offers fully managed services like Azure Database for PostgreSQL, for flexible servers, support for open standards, automation, availability, and built-in security, native integrations with Azure Monitor, Defender, Backup, and more. But let's focus on what powers this infrastructure, the virtual machines behind the scenes. And I'm going to focus on most general purpose VMs on the left going forward. But let's do a quick walkthrough. The D series generally offers 4 is to 1 memory for virtual CPU ranging from 2 to 96 vCPUs. We now offer 2 is to 1 variant with Dell V6. E series we have 8 is to 1, again 2 to 96 on the latest generation. F series we have 2, 4, 8 to 1 with multi-threading turned off, have the fastest x86 performance on Azure with up to 64 cores. On the confidential computing VMs, which enables protection of data in use using AMD Infinity Guard technology, which is a patented technology with same specifications as the standard DA and EA series. Our H series VM stands for high performance computing. So you see HBV3, HBV4. These are high performance computing instances. These instances have been all AMD since 2019 with more on the way as we see. We offer variant of accelerated options, mostly notably our NDMI300X V5 VM, which has our AMD Instinct MI300X GPU focused on AI inferencing and training. This VM is offering some of the strongest token per dollar performance on Azure, like uh, with models like Llama 3, 4, or 5B. You will see another large array of options addressing various AI training and inferencing requirements. We also offer visualization VMs. So you see these NV series instances, which are visualization virtual machines. And last but not the least, our storage optimized VMs, which offer a large amount of vast, direct, and attached MVMe storage on the VM. With that, we'll move on to the next slide. And so again, why AMD powered Azure VMs for PostgreSQL? PostgreSQL is world's most popular database. Uh, Please move on to the next slide. I wanted to skip this Linux one. Let's come to Postgre. So PostgreSQL is world's most popular database with developers according to Stack Overview's developer survey and has been for some time. Azure themselves are doing great work with PostgreSQL, offering new AI features. For example, they also have several Postgre maintainers directly on staff. AMD is proud to support the great software development work with hardware that brings leading performance. And here is why they are very ideal for PostgreSQL with up to 30% better price performance versus comparable Intel SQs, high core density memory bandwidth, perfect for query intensive workloads, and wide support across general purpose DASV5, memory optimized EASV5, and compute optimized FASV5 VMs. And this makes AMD VMs the right foundation for database modernization at scale. With that, I would like to talk about uh, PostgreSQL and some of the migration options. And this is my last slide. So you can choose lift and shift to AMD-based Linux VMs, Ubuntu, Red Hat, or go fully managed with Azure database for PostgreSQL uh, for flexibility in servers and still get the AMD advantage behind the scenes. AMD's V6 virtual machine, which you see right now here on Azure, are powered by latest fourth generation AMD EPYC CPUs, offering remarkable performance improvement with up to 96 vCPUs and 632 uh, GB of RAM. These VMs provide substantial boost in PostgreSQL performance compared to our previous versions, making them an excellent choice for demanding workloads. We support migrations using Azure DMS, pgdump, MySQL pump for logical backups, native replications. The migration path is safe, fast, and proven. We have seen thousands of workloads already modernized this way. And in the last, I would like to talk about security and compliance. AMD powered Azure instances also support confidential computing and enhanced isolation. Security, if you talk about security with AMD SEV, secure encrypted virtualization, and SNP, secure nested paging support on some of the VMs, encryption at rest, in transit, or in use. These are the ideal choice for industries like BFSI, healthcare, and government. So why you should choose uh, you know Postgres in Azure AMD by you can identify PostgreSQL workloads, benchmark them against AMD-based Azure VMs, engage with us through Quadrant, through Microsoft, and take advantage of hybrid benefit and reserved instances. So that's it from my side. I guess my time is over. Do I still have time?
Maybe Samir, yeah, you can take some more time.
Yeah, okay. So I was highlighting on this security aspect, which is SCV
Yeah.
SNP. So you get these some of the instances which are available in confidential computing. Specifically, if you talk about BFSI, if you talk about government, we have these SCV SNP enabled instances, which are confidential computing instances, which are very relevant for Indian market. So yeah, so that's it from my side. Any questions? We'll take it on later. So that's it from my side. Thank you.
A lot, Samir. So, Jitu, you wanted to cover?
Yeah. Hi everyone. So let's talk about on the Azure Postgres. What are the built-in features that we have? So Azure already have AI integration inbuilt within this feature. So let's go. Like Azure already provided AI inbuilt feature within the Postgres Azure Flexible Server, Azure Postgres Flexible Server. उसको बोलो कि ये वाला playlist डालने के लिए। So AI, ये वाला built-in feature. So which contains two things. One is the embedding, where it is an inline database where we have the there are a couple of features that we have Microsoft introduced recently. One is the disk ANN. I think it's not changed. No, not yet. Yeah. Can you change the slide to 25? Okay. Yeah. So as we discussed about disk ANN, so disk ANN is the algorithm through which we can do the vector embeddings in an optimized way. Okay. So that's already available GA. It means generally available, and we have semantic re-ranking. So whenever we are doing any semantic search in the Postgres database, it does support that, because Postgres is not a only SQL database; it's a AI powered database as well. So we can build our tool, any AI powered tools on the top of that. So that's where it shines as compared to other database. Though it is an open source database, we can have AI integration with respect to Azure Postgres flexible server. Okay, so recently Microsoft introduced Apache AGE into Azure Flexible Server, through which we can do the RAG solution inbuilt within that. So how to do that OpenAI integration? So for that we need a we need embeddings. Can you go to next slide, please? Yeah. So here there are two types of embedding system that Microsoft introduces. One is the remote embedding and another is local embedding. What does it mean? So usually any translation that we usually do as a part of making it as a vector relative. So how basically any database supports the vector embedding is, either it can process the data inside the database itself, or it will use another services to process the embedding part and save the data. So Azure does support both the things. When we are trying to use OpenAI, Azure OpenAI embedding models, it's called as a remote embedding models. Whereas if we wanted to put that inside the Postgres itself, so we can use the Azure local AI. Okay, so there are some example. If you see that, okay, text embedding ADA, which is a GPT embedding models, or chat GPT or OpenAI embedding model for remote embedding models. Whereas if you are trying to do it as a local embedding model, so we can go with the multilingual E5 small v1. Okay, so through which it can create the vectors within the database itself, and we can store the data. So here, what are the use cases for that? So as I said, so we can use the Azure OpenAI, Azure AI languages to translate our whatever data that we have into multiple languages. It can do the translation as well, and we can use the Azure machine learning for any kind of data analysis on the Postgres itself. Okay, only the services we need to adopt, and we can pass entire data into AI related use cases. Can you shift to next slide, please? Yeah. So how can I deploy the Postgres database into cloud or Azure cloud? So there are different deployment methods that we have. Earlier, ARM templates, most of the people knows about it. Okay, we can create the ARM any resources in Azure using ARM templates. So nowadays, like as uh, technology changes, so we have different varieties through which we can do the things. We can use the Terraform, which is a multi-cloud platform, Bicep, which is internal to Microsoft, and now they make it as a published into publicly available, which can be used as a domain-specific language to create the resource and deploy into Azure itself. And Ansible is there also. We can use that. Apart from this, so if any developer wants to use to create within their application and all these things, so what they can do, they can either use the REST API, or they can use the PowerShell as well as the Azure CLI, through which they can do the deployment faster and can monitor the things. Okay, so that's the beauty of enabling your infrastructure with the cloud. Cloud can be programmable, and we can do whatever we want from our side. Can we move to next slide, please? Yeah. What are the real use cases that Microsoft usually use within their within their infrastructure? So, is Microsoft is already using Postgres inside this? Yes. The answer is yes. How or where? The database that we Microsoft uses is Vanish database. That's called as Vanish database. So, in that, what usually happens? So, their Windows a Windows team is already using that. If you see that architecture, wherever the Windows servers are, Windows operating system is installed, so they are collecting all the monitorings. They are already doing all the insights from that Windows server and putting into a Azure Blob Storage, and from there they are processing the data using Citus. So these all the data. So if you see that every day there are 800 million Windows or devices are connected, and they are collecting all the information behind the scene. So that's the scale that how Microsoft is able to process Postgres, this many requests in the Postgres database itself. So, and beyond that, so they are getting the analysis reports, they are creating analytics, and they are trying to analyze these data patterns and all this thing. On the top of that, they can provide it to Microsoft management itself. Okay, so that's the real use cases which is internal to Microsoft, and Microsoft is already implementing that internally for their organization itself. So next, can you move to next slide, please? Okay, so now we will discuss. So till now we discussed about why Postgres and all these things. Now I just wanted to explain about what is the real challenges that people usually face if we are having any database on prem, or I might have Oracle, because we are discussing here Postgres is a open source database, but my database is in Oracle or SQL or somewhere else. So can I do that migration? Yes. So for that, we will discuss about what are the challenges that we have and how to overcome that scenario. So can you move to next slide, please? Yeah. So here we are going to discuss about what are the real challenges that usually people face. So the first challenge that we have is the your data types. So if I am using a SQL server or I am using Oracle, definitely there will be a difference between SQL to Oracle, Oracle to Postgres. So there is a difference between data types. So we need to tackle it properly, and then only we need to migrate it. Okay. So that's a bigger challenge for every organization to get a mapping between difference. What is the difference between the source and destination database? So here we are talking about Postgres. So what is the source system that you have, and what are the data types difference that we have? Accordingly, we'll align that. Similarly, the sequencing format. Okay. So now let's talk about a little bit on the sequencing. So if anyone using the sequencing auto or identity column in the database itself, so there are different way or different approaches how to create the sequence, how to create the identity column on the top of that. So either it can be a trigger based, or it can be a stored procedure. Inside the stored procedure, I am just doing a count plus one, the top max number and plus one, so something like that, or there is a identity property. So that also we need to do it from our side. Okay, so that's a challenge. Then there is a language difference. So if I'm using a SQL server, there will be a T-SQL. If I'm using a Oracle server, then I have to use the PL SQL, and if I'm using Postgres, then PL PG SQL. So this conversion of the languages, stored procedures, code objects, and all these things will be completely different. Then the bigger challenge that we have is performance. Okay, so if I wanted to migrate from one source system to different destination system, which is Postgres, then there will be definitely there is a performance impact. So it can be different way. Okay, it can be index because of indexes, it because of our code conversion and all these things. So that should be taken care. Okay. So then let's talk about then if I did the database migration, but still my application is pointing to the old source code base. Okay, so source is, let's consider source as a Oracle. So now my application is pointing to the Oracle system. Okay, whereas I migrated my database from Oracle to Postgres, then I need to do the application code changes as well. So after this, all these things, then till now we are only talking about how to make the same structure from Oracle to Postgres. Then the next step is, after the migration of the schema objects, your code objects and all these things, we might need the data to be migrated. We need to do the data migration. So then that is a big challenge. So if you have a huge amount of data, I think we have done it internally, which is petabytes of data we have already migrated. So with that effort, so now my data to be validated, it should be validated properly. It should be copied, sequenced, because we should follow the same sequence. It should not be randomly we should copy the data. So there are different challenges usually people face when they are doing the data migration also. If something went wrong also, because every data gives a value to the organization. If one record missed also, it will be a big challenge for the organization. So there the testing and validation will come into picture. Okay, so here we will discuss about your migration tools and techniques or best practices that to be followed throughout your data migration journey. Okay, can you move to next slide, please? Yeah. So here we are going to discuss about what are the tools are available from Azure side. So one is Azure Migrate, okay, which can do the entire infrastructure migration, which includes your application migration, your storage migration, and database migration. And there is a specific database tool that Azure provides, which is called as Azure DMS. We'll talk that here. Okay. Can you go to next slide, please? Next slide, please. Okay. Yeah. So as I said, Azure Migrate can do the data migration for the entire server, which might contain your database, which might contain storage as well as your application. Whereas DMS can only focus on the database migration. Okay, so that's why it is called as Azure Data Migration Service. So what does it do? So when we are talking about Azure DMS, it can do the homogeneous migration. So last example, whatever I have given, let's see, I have a Oracle. So I wanted to migrate to Oracle to Postgres. So this is source and destination, both are different technology altogether. So that's called as a heterogeneous. Whereas if you are talking about homogeneous migration, it's from I should have a Postgres in my on-prem or any other cloud. From there, I just wanted to migrate to Azure Postgres. So that's a homogeneous migration. So when we are trying to do migration from similar technology, so Azure Data Migration Service or DMS can help us. So that's called as homogeneous migration. So though we are discussing here about Postgres or Azure Postgres Flexible Server, it's also science. So in this scenario, what should be my source? Source can be your on-prem PostgreSQL or a Postgres hosted on a Azure VM, or it can be hosted on RDS, AWS RDS, or it can be GCP cloud. Okay, from there, yeah, we will take the questionnaires. We'll take the questionnaires later after this completion of this one. Okay. So from there we can, this will be your source, and from there we can take the we can do the migration from different sources to Postgres. But the limitation that we have is it should be the same. It should be Postgres only. It should not be Oracle to Postgres and all, because it's a homogeneous migration. So before starting that, we need to do some assessment, which is called a pre-validation. Okay. So what does it do? Does is, so whenever we are checking that if there is a version compatibility issue, or if there is something related to code objects are not matching, or if we are using any extension, older extension that is supported in on-prem and it does not support in the Azure Postgres, then it will automatically, during the validation stage, it will automatically let us know that these are the features are not supported, or this is too old, we need to do something else. Okay, so this validation report will give us all details, details information related to what is supported, what is not supported, and what should I do. Okay, so these are the things which will be given in the pre-validation stage. Then what are the different way that we can do the migration? So there are two modes that we have. One is the offline mode, another is online mode. So what does it mean? So if any organization which is already running their Postgres, do you think that they will stop their server for the couple of hours or days to get it migrated? Never. Am I right? So that's where the online migration came into picture. So online migration, usually how it is, so if it will make the current system running, but behind the scene asynchronous from on-prem or from different source to Azure cloud. So once the data are synced, it will let us know that okay, the data get migrated, and you can just switch your connectivity, which is a very few minimal timeline for downtime. Whereas offline migration, it will be completely down the entire current server. So what usually it will do is it will stop the on-prem server or the source server, and it will start copying the data as a huge like workload, and then it will make the destination database complete available so that we can continue further. So let's talk. Can you switch to next slide, please? Yeah. So we have our Quadrant has its own proprietary migration tool, which is a heterogeneous database migration tool. As I said, there are two versions. One is the homogeneous and another heterogeneous. So QMigrator is a heterogeneous. It does support homogeneous as well. Okay, so it can do both homogeneous migration as well as heterogeneous data migration. Can you go to next slide, please? So it does support different models, different source like IBM DB2, SQL Server, MySQL, Oracle, okay, any NoSQL database like MongoDB, Cassandra DB, and all these things, and Postgres as well. So as I said that, okay, it can support homogeneous Postgres to Postgres as well as like heterogeneous as well. Okay, where DB2 to Postgres or DB2 to the source and the destination does not matter. We can do from any database to any database migration. Okay, so it does. And the beauty of this QMigrator tool is it can deploy it on any cloud also. Okay, so it does support multi-cloud operation. It can it is cloud agnostic, so that's why we can call it as a cloud agnostic. We can It is running on the top of Kubernetes. So if you have EKS, AKS, or Kubernetes, Google Kubernetes service also, we can deploy it and we can run it there itself. Can you go to next slide, please? So these are the module that we have. The initial stage is like, okay, we need to do this infrastructure setup. So where we can onboard the client, then we can do the assessment for them, and we can start the data migration or migration of the code object and the storage objects and the data migration. Then we can do the validation. So that's called as end-to-end data migration tool. Okay, so where from the onboarding till generating the final report that, okay, my migration is successfully done, so everything is come across QMigrator itself. So we can do the client onboarding, assessment, migration, which covers both the things, code object migration and data migration, and validation report. Then any changes are there, any new deployments, we can follow that, and then final report it will give us. So as part of that, what is the benefit out of it? If you are using it, we can do the infrastructure for you. Okay, so that infrastructure setup templates will be given and it will automatically deployed as well. We can get rid of 70%. As per our previous strategy, we are able to do 75 percent faster migration. Okay, we are saving too much money because it's a AI enabled. So it can give us like, okay, if I'm not using that much resources, so then it will automatically alert us that, okay, your resources are not used properly, so that we can like we can downgrade those services. So similarly, there are and the value adds here is like, if any customer wants to do a POC or any assessment, that will be free of cost. So we are going to do the free assessment for them, and we can do the POC. After that, we can go for the actual migration. So then it does support the automatic tuning already is inbuilt in there. So can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah. So as I mentioned, so it has different stages. One is the discovery phase. So in discovery phase, we will give you the detailed report about what are the objects are there, how many code objects, what is the AWR report that you have. AWR a report usually used in Oracle. Okay. So then what is your current architecture, how many servers, cores, and all this information, and what is the complexity level. So if your code has like so many stored procedure, and inside that there are different methods are defined which are not supported, so those kind of things it will automatically identify and it will give the migration complexity. Okay, so then according like within that also it will give you the what will be the corresponding configuration for the Azure. So it does support all the things, TCO, ROI, and all these things. Then everything is, the entire process is automated. So and it is AI driven as well. Then the next step is like, we need to, after the assessment, what we are going to do is we are going to do the setup of our code repo, where we can deploy our code, and we will create a current version of the code, and we will we will try to convert our code and put it in another repo. So that's conversion and schema conversion, database conversion, object conversion, all these things will be done seamlessly behind the scene. And after that, we are going to do if customer need the high availability and disaster also, it will automatically provision those option whenever it is trying to create a target server. So after that, depend upon the customer, we can go for multiple stage of validation, or we can go for it depend upon customer. Okay, so we can go for dev testing, SIT, load testing, UAT, and all these things. So after that, once the migration is completed, we usually support them for couple of days, or depending upon customer requirement, we can support warranty and hypercare. Okay, for quick issue resolution, and we can see that performance also. If there is any challenges that they are facing, we can support further for better performance. Okay. Okay, so can you go to the next slide, please? Yeah. Okay, so I think that's it from my side. So Sriram, can you take it forward and discuss about the next step?
Yeah, thank you, Jitu. I think there are good number of questions are there. Let us take it after Sriram's thing. Yeah, Sriram, over to you.
Hi everyone. Good evening and good afternoon. Um, yeah, today I will cover about my experience working with migrations with respect to Postgres. So typically, when customers wants to migrate to Postgres, first we start off with the assessment and the migration plan. Can you move on to the next slide? So there are different phases of migration. First, you need to do the discovery, then you have to do the pilot, and then you have to do the migration, and then we go for the support. So there are different phases of the migration, and first we'll cover about the discovery phase. In the discovery phase, typically what happens is we'll scan the entire database, and then when we need to identify the objects, the count of the objects, the complexity of the migration with respect to stored procedures, and we need to understand the database size and what exactly we want to configure, like HADR and all those things. We understand that from as part of the discovery phase, and then we prepare the as is architecture and the proposed architecture, and then we prepare the BOQ. That means based on the current on-prem or the cloud infrastructure you have, we will prepare the um, BOQ in the terms of what is the sizing required and what is the estimated cost for that, and then whether that is fitting into the business requirements, and then we proceed for the next step, right? So we also discuss about the migration challenges, risks, mitigation as part of this discovery phase. Yeah, you can go to next slide. Next slide. Hello. Next slide. So uh, basically, like we need to have different environment setup. Like as Jitendra mentioned, we need to have different tools that are available that are helping for migration. As part of that migration, we have to set up the development environment, SIT, UAT, pre-prod, and staging and production. So for this, all these activities, you might have to do the multiple times of, validations and testing. Can you move on to the next slide? As part of this, like we have to prepare first, initially we have to go for an initial load, where we do the storage object migration, and then we do the initial load, and then we have to do the code object migration, and as part of code object migration, we have to validate the code conversion is properly done or not. We need to identify any deployment issues, right? And we need to identify the data quality and the schema that has been converted to Postgres, and we have to migrate the users roles, any partitions, we have to set up the replications jobs, and from the application side we have to make the database compatible with Oracle, or sorry, we have to make the database compatible to work with the application. So data access layer changes might be required, right? So these are all the preparations that are required for the migration. Can you go on next slide? Next slide. So when we do the production cutover, once the data is migrated, validated, and tested, so we come to the production cutover. So during the production cutover, we need to ensure the data is in sync with respect to on-prem and cloud. So we need to have some kind of mechanism that will sync the data, like CDC, change data capture. And then when we have to do some kind of mock cutover, and validate that scenario to ensure that everything is working fine. And we have to do the sanity testing. This can be done using end-to-end user testing, functional testing, and performance testing. And then we have to go live. So the major challenge here we see is, whenever we are doing a cross database platform migration, typically you need to ensure that the Postgres database has been fine tuned to work according to the business needs. So you might have to require to do the performance tuning for that before you confirm whether all the business parameters are met, right? Yeah, you can move to the next slide. Yeah. So as said that, like when we go to the Postgres live, right, there are a lot of benefits that you generally see with Postgres, as Jitendra mentioned, in terms of cost, performance, scalability, um, and tons of features are being added into Postgres on a daily basis or in a release basis. Pretty much every 1.5 year we are seeing new releases coming, like 15, 16, 17, with lot of great enhancements coming up. So I think this is one of the best open source database available in the market, and pretty much all the cloud providers are supporting PostgreSQL in cloud, right? And it has very strong monitoring mechanisms, where you can find out the long running queries, the performance tuning, CPU, and um, memory optimizations to be done, right? And then you can fine tune the database server parameters for better reads, better writes, right? So a lot of features are being added. That being said, and recently from Postgres 15 onwards, we are seeing the Azure AI extension being added, so with which we can help customers migrate to Postgres with a modernized approach. So can you go next slide? Can you move to the correct slide? So AI application with Azure PostgreSQL, like Quadrant has built some of the AI application features on top of the PostgreSQL. So where we can help the migration assessment to have the proper streamlining and fast tracking of migration planning path for the clients. So we have a step-by-step approach for asking relevant questions and gathering information, making it easy for newly onboarded customers, people who are planning to onboard to Postgres. The relevant questions will be asked, and then ensure that they have a right information to migrate to Postgres, right? So a lot of Azure AI extension is there, which can help you to integrate Azure AI seamlessly to Postgres, right? So next slide. So we can have the data ingestion and embedding generation as well, as part of the Postgres. We can have the documents and reports from the discovery tools and are uploaded and stored in Postgres database. And we can store the embeddings in dedicated column using PG vector. We can also do the gap analysis from the assessment that is done, right? And then we can capture required information to transcript or by QA and converting info into the embeddings. Can move on to the next slide. So basically, our assessment workflow is based on RAG, where we can retrieve the top relevant sources from the database based on the embeddings, and we pass on the results along with the user info and to the Azure AI extension to get the context awareness of the data. We also have the agentic actions, where it can help we can have the if any process is required any further action, we can invoke an AI agent, and with that we can have the interactions with the database and the external systems as well. Next slide. So typically like we have the workflow setup where we have the environment setup, we have the data ingestion done, we have the embedding generation, we can store the embeddings, and then we can create the vector index, we can have the user query processings done, and we have the vector similarity search done to find the relevant documents, and we can have the agentic actions also done automatic the further actions workflows if required, right? So can move on to the next slide. So there are a couple of case studies also we have where we have done migration for very large enterprise scale healthcare customers. Can you move on to the next slide? We have done like end-to-end migration for databases which is around in TBs, and we have done the application migration and modernization where we have done set up everything from the scratch. We have migrated the data center from on-premises to cloud. We have set up the complete landing zone and prepared the management groups, and then we have set up complete we have migrated the entire data center from on premises to cloud, and we migrated from Oracle to Postgres, and what we have found is around 30 to 40% of cost savings in the first 3 years. It was like post 3 years we have seen customers having anywhere between 30 to 40% cost savings, and they are now able to scale up their applications, and there is the the error rate or the SLS to fix the issues as have considerably reduced, and they have better logging and monitoring which are available as part of Azure compared to the on-prem. And with respect to the e-commerce, we have done for a migration for e-commerce. Can you go to the next slide? Where we have the customer need to have migrate petabytes of data from their Oracle to Postgres, and Q Migrator help them to migrate the data, validate the data, and we have put them in the pods, and then we had the Q Migrator in the pods, and then scale up according to the need and speed with respect to their migration, right? So they have saved considerable amount of time, people, money in all the factors with this Q migrator approach. Um, Next slide, please. What we have seen here is you see the transfer rates based on the one of the infrastructure we have done for the clients, right? The transfer rates is around 10 TB per day with the proper infrastructure, and then we have done the CDC change data capture data sync with respect to 1 GB per minute, and that's for Oracle to Postgres migration. And within Oracle to Oracle migration, we have done around 8 TB per day, and then we have done the CDC rates at 1 GB per minute, and we have done Oracle to Fabric migration also with transfer rates up to 6 TB per day, and then CDC up to 1 GB per minute. Move on to the next slide. If you see here, right, like there are multiple jobs the Q migrator is set up where it can extract and we can transform, and the load the all the operations can run in parallelly from any databases to Postgres. So it is completely scalable, and then it is complete package, you can say, for any kind of migrations. Next slide, please. So now that pretty much you are aware of why Postgres is important and how advanced the Postgres has become in terms of scalability, in terms of speed, in terms of new features implemented as part of that product, and in terms of cloud adoption across the databases and clouds across the clouds. So a lot of things and a lot of companies are now adapting to open source databases, and with the Microsoft support, and by the way, they have the really fantastic support. um, so with Microsoft support, you can definitely vouch for migrating to Postgres. And you can use any of the tools like a Q Migrator or the Azure Migrate, right? That kind of tools to help migrate to cloud. So feel free to reach us. You can scan the QR code here and see how you can reach us and see how you can adapt to the cloud migration journey. Thank you. Now we are open for the questions.
Hey, thank you,
So I'm
Sriram.
just going
That's
through.
wonderful.
Yes.
There are a lot of queries are there, I think, right? So I see most of the things are answered, right? Yeah, we can pick one or two again. You can cover. I think you covered as part of case study, but I think you can do that again. So how does Azure support high availability for business critical apps? This is
So
from
Azure has inbuilt high availability. Like on a click of a button, you can just enable HA with 99.99% SLS, and then you can have the high availability in three zones: zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. You can pick and choose any of your availability zones. And it has also has a disaster recovery where you can select your disaster recovery selection in a different region itself. And you can access the databases as a by enabling read replicas. So you can set up HA and DR um, compared with the ease. That's what I can say,
yeah.
right?
Thank you. One more question is how does Azure handle data consistency?
So data consistency in the sense, like, when we migrate the data, the we have uh, we need to ensure that the data quality is good. You can use the tools like QMigrator to validate your data, and post that the data itself is in the rest. The database itself is encrypted, completely encrypted. And you can also use it with the customer managed key and self managed key as well. So there are a lot of security features also inbuilt. And you need to that way you can have the data um, secure and consistent.
Okay. Yeah. One more question is how does Azure support CI/CD for databases?
So CI/CD is like you can have the pipeline setup to deploy any of your code. um, so uh, yeah, it's just like any other database. You can have your framework setup and you are having the code deploy as part of the uh, pipelines to the database deployments.
Okay. One more question from William. So Jitu, so this is for you. How is Microsoft investing in AI to assist in database performance optimization?
So Microsoft has a auto tuning feature on that. So is it related to performance? Am I right?
Yeah, database
Yes.
performance.
Okay. So Microsoft already enabled that feature within the Postgres itself. So there is a concept called auto tuning. So in auto tuning, what we will get it like we will get to know what are the objects. Either it is because of index or it is because of my code object. It is because of my database structure. So it will automatically let us know. It's just like alert kind of things. If you are reacting on that, it will done because there will be an option called as okay, mitigate. So once you mitigate on that, then automatically it will be resolved. So it will automatically apply for you. If not, then you need to do manual action on that. That's how you can do the performance tuning.
One more question, Sriram. Is QMigrator designed for enterprise grade workloads or also supports SMB or SMC use cases?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it is designed for both enterprise and SMB customers. So we are handling right now petabytes of data for migration. So that itself is an example. I have shown you the stats as well, where you see the speed of the migration as well. So definitely, yeah.
So Justin, to answer that, right? So yeah, this is really used for at enterprise level or corporate or SMB level also. QMigrator is successfully used, and as Sriram said, I think yeah, it is really best fit there. And one more question from Justin: Can you share measurable ROI examples from clients using QMigrator?
So typically, yeah, the savings cost we see from when we are migrating from Oracle to Postgres, anywhere between 30 to 80% is variation. So you'll have the initially you'll incur the migration cost, and post that you will see anywhere between 30 to 80%. Balu.
Okay. I saw this is answered. So Jitu, this is for you. Can QMigrator integrate with enterprise IAM tools like Azure AD or Okta?
Yes, I think I answered already. So it can easily, because it is already developed using all the cloud providers. So yes, it is already it can be integrated to Azure AD. But Okta, someone mentioned it. I think that is not yet implemented. Soon we are going to implement it. Thanks for suggesting that.
And this is again for Jitu. How is data encrypted at rest and in transit in Azure databases for PostgreSQL or MySQL?
Yeah, it's. I think I already answered most of the question that is there in the group. So, using as Sriram already mentioned, it can be customer managed key, or by default Azure. Whenever we are creating the Azure Postgres instance, there is an option called you want to enable the encryption at rest or not. If you wanted to go for it, you just check that button, then it will be automatically taken care. If you
So
wanted to
Jitu,
maintain,
to add on to
Yes,
what
Samir.
what Jitu just mentioned, we have AMD instances in Azure which are SCV SNP enabled instances. We call it confidential VMs. So
yes,
SCV is secured encrypted virtualization. As I mentioned, the technology behind these VMs is AMD Infinity Guard technology, which is a patented technology by AMD. What happens is, in SEV SNP, and SNP stands for Secured Nested Paging. I'll give you an example of a gym, where we all go for exercise. Now, what happens in a gym? The gym owner gives you the lockers. The lockers are there, 10, 20 lockers are there, and all the members are coming and using those lockers. So, in secured nested virtualization, your locker is safe. It is very, very safe. Nobody can open it. You can only open it with your lock, with your code. When it comes to secured nested paging, um, the locker gets, if somebody tries to open it, the owner tries to open it, it locks it itself, it isolates itself. So that's how the technology works. So this is patented, uh, very high-end technology by AMD. We are supporting Microsoft Azure in confidential computing. So yes, we can enable those instances. For some of the industries, I also mentioned in my presentation, in case of BFSI, in case of government of India, or government, not only India, any government, industry, we can leverage these instances, which are secure instances, so that your data is safe in transit, at rest, or while processing.
Thank you, Samir. One more question. Can AMD's chip architecture accelerate database backup, restore operations?
Sorry, come again, Balu.
Can AMD's chip architecture accelerate database backup or database restore
Yes,
operations?
we have we have specific instances. So I spoke about different instances uh, uh, for different workloads. So, if you talk about database workloads, we have specific instances. I mentioned about LSV2. I mentioned about some of the D series instances, which are very database optimized VMs.
Okay. One more question. Thank you. One more question from Soumitra. Are there upcoming AMD based offerings in Azure targeting enterprise database migrations? And this is for you, Samir.
Oh, this is for me.
Yeah.
What is that? I thought
Are
this was for somebody else. So
no,
sorry.
no. This is for you again.
Yeah,
Are there
yeah,
uh, upcoming AMD based offerings in Azure targeting enterprise database migrations?
yes, 100%. So um, you see this. I mentioned V series instances. The last one that I presented. These are the latest ones with 96 up to 96 cores. These are the latest Gen 4, Generation 5 instances. We are coming up with the instances almost every 6 months, every 4 5 months. We are launching our products, and yes, you would see more.
Okay. Okay. One more, actually, how does Azure's DBAs improve business agility and speed to market? Maybe anybody can take Jitu, Sriram.
Um,
I see. It has been answered by Jitu. So Azure DBAs is a PaaS service. So I think that's a
Any
question.
database is a PaaS services here. So we just wanted to bring our data and structure into that. So I think it will be done. So that's why it is speed to market. Yes, we can say.
I see one more question. Are there funding programs or incentives for migration projects? Yes, of course. From Microsoft, definitely. There are a lot of funding programs are there for the customers, and AMD also. So, Samir, you want to answer any funding programs are there from
Yes.
AMD?
So we do have like ESIF. We do have a JSO program wherein we get involved with Microsoft sellers, and we offer uh, separate funding for POCs, for migrations. So yes, it's a different bucket than like just like ESIF. You mentioned you are a ESIF certified or a ESIF partner with
Right.
Microsoft. So we do have something called JSO program, which is equivalent to ESIF, but in many ways it is different because you get access to people like Andrew Ruffin, people like me. So you can always come to us for some large migrations, for some POCs. You can come to us, and yes, it is less complicated than ESIF in Microsoft.
Nice to know that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think Samir answered that, Rajesh, your question. Yeah, I think most of the things are answered. I think we are 13 minutes past.
For the question in the chat uh, from Prasant Kata, hi Samir, will Microsoft Fabric or AI Copilot leverage AMD hardware? AMD, I'm very happy and excited to announce here, AMD Copilot entirely is powered by AMD.
Excellent. Great. Yeah. I think Justin. Yeah.
And for the part two question on the roadmap, we do have a roadmap with Microsoft. We can schedule a call maybe later, and I can share the roadmap.
Okay. Thank you. I think so. Yeah. We covered most of the questions I see here. If any more questions are there, you can write to migrations at quadranttechnologies.com is the mail ID. It's a DL actually. All the related people are there who can really schedule a call, or they will answer through the emails. So this is displayed on the screen, migrations@quadranttechnologies.com. So please mail it here. And I see from Rupa, I think she's looking for a job. So please send your profile also, Rupa, to this DL. So we will definitely look into this, and we will see how to take it forward. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Right. Samir, thank you. Sriram, thank you. Jitu, for the wonderful session, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Balu, and
Thanks, everyone.
entire Quadrant team for organizing this. This was an excellent platform where I could talk about many AMD advances, and when you talk about databases in Azure, and specifically Postgres. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Samir.
you.
Once again, happy to collaborate with you also. So looking forward to meet you in person.
So,
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.